Good afternoon. I'm Ginger Ontiveros, and I am the president and CEO of Tomorrow's Talent. Tomorrow's Talent is an organization that works between schools like yours and employers out in the community to help make your transition from school to work easier. And we're working on a really exciting program with Fontana Unified School District. We're doing a project called Future Shapers in every single school. The challenge that we have in Future Shapers is to take on a real-world problem, to do something that really matters to your community. And so the challenge that we've come up with for you today is to build a social media marketing campaign that actually benefits a local business. So what we're looking for is teams of students or individual students to come together to build a campaign that we can measure that impacts in a positive way a local business. We're going to challenge you to come up with this campaign. We're going to help equip you with some knowledge so that you can build a campaign that's meaningful. We're going to help you learn how to evaluate that campaign. And then we're going to give you a platform with our friends from Curiosity Quest to help you promote that campaign so that the businesses that you're working with actually get to see a benefit because of what you did. It's something you can be really proud of, and you can say, hey, this does matter to my community. Because when you help businesses in your community, you create jobs in your community. You put people to work in your community. You help feed families in your community. It matters, right? So to actually add a little bit more fun, we're going to incentivize you with a prize. Tomorrow's Talent is going to reward the winning team from across the entire Fontana Unified School District who's invited to participate in this with a $500 prize. So you'll be able to split those dollars amongst the members of your team, use it any way you like, but we're going to have some criteria that we use to identify who the winning team is. We're going to be looking at engagement. So for your social media campaign, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares are happening, right? We're going to be looking at the impact on the business. Did you increase their foot traffic? Were there more sales? What did the business owners say about working with you? We're going to be looking at the quality of what you developed. How was your cinematography? What happened with your editing and transitions? We're going to look at your creativity. How did you tell their story? How did you make a difference to put them out there to get attention, right? And then we want to know about your professionalism. Did you adhere to the guidelines of the competition? Were you ethical in the things that you said? All of these things matter. And so we're really excited to invite you to participate. And I'm going to turn it over to the stars of the show today, who are going to tell you a lot more about how this works and how you can join.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
I'm sorry, how are you doing? Good. I just want to make sure you guys can hear them and that are at the other schools. This is so awesome. I've already warned them I move a lot, so I'm going to move a lot. I'm going to be me. First and foremost, I am so honored to be standing right here in your classroom. I'm not kidding. I'm honored to be working with the other, I think there's 5 total schools that are participating in this competition in the city of Fontana. What an absolute honor it is. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you guys so much for recording this and putting it out to the other schools. We really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you guys from Tomorrow's Talent, Future Shapers, for pulling this competition together. I'm going to give you a little background about Tammy and I. By the way, this is Tammy. Everybody say hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
All right. I'm Joel Green, by the way. And how many of you guys in this room want to be in the entertainment industry? How many of you guys want to be influencers? How many of you guys want to be streamers? How many of you guys want to work behind the camera? So all in all, how many of you guys want to do what you're doing in this class right now for a job potentially in the future? Okay, so it looks like for those of you that aren't here, over half the room is raising their hand. What's crazy is I found out that one of the number one jobs or number one professions people want to go into is influencing or streaming or on camera or YouTubing, whatever you guys call it in your own world. It blew me away. I had no idea that was one of the top jobs. And here we've been doing this now for 24 years. Tammy and I produced TV shows for 24 years. When I was in high school, my whole goal was to be an entertainer. I just wanted to be an entertainer. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't have a goal to be on TV. I didn't have a goal to be online. Well, there was no online back then, so just want to make that clear. There was no social media back then. There was no YouTube back then, but I just want to be an entertainer. And how I found my path to entertaining was I actually dress up in historical costumes and I go visit elementary schools and I perform history assemblies. If any of you grew up in this area, there's a likelihood that I have been at your school dressed as James Marshall, the founder of Gold here in California, or Paul Revere doing a 5th grade assembly. I've been doing that for almost 30 years. Because I've been doing that for so long, students write me thank you letters, tell me what they're curious about. Years and years, I got all these thank you letters. I'm curious about how do you make chocolate? How do you make vehicles? What's it like to be a firefighter? So we decided over 24 years ago to put together all these topics, letters that people are curious about, and make a TV show out of it. So we created a local cable access show called Curiosity Quest. And on the show, I would go and explore what people are curious about. So I've been to some of the biggest factories in the country. We've traveled from Maine to Florida, Alaska to Hawaii, and about 25 states in between, exploring what kids are curious about. Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream Factory, Jelly Belly Factory, Steinway & Sons Piano, Fender Guitar, right here in Corona, all over the country exploring what people are curious about. And as we were doing all these explorations and I was going out doing keynotes to large groups, I had somebody after one of my keynotes walk up to me and say, you know what, Joel, you go to all these factories, you do all these things, you go experience all these things, get to learn from the experts. What if students got to do that? And that was our entrance into CQ, or Curiosity Quest Problem Solvers. And we've been doing that for a decade now, where we literally have students, you guys, take a real world experience, you go through the process, you get to see what it's like, get to be on the other side of the camera and figure out, get solutions and answers to real world problems. So it's so amazing. We've never done a problem solver like this, where we're taking two things that I do. In 2010, Tammy and I and my other partner, her sister, Melissa, the producing company, basically we said, man, there are so many great spots to highlight here in the Inland Empire. 2010, by the way, Instagram was born that year. No such thing as Instagram back then. TikTok, X was around, but it was known as Twitter, and it really wasn't like it is now. And of course, YouTube was getting its feet, Facebook was getting its feet. We decided to put together a television show called Inland Empire Explorer, where we highlight where to go, what to do, what to see right here in the Inland Empire. Nobody was doing this at the time. It wasn't heard of. We put it on TV, and within 3 months of it being on TV, it was on PBS locally, the show was in the top 10 of all shows locally. We did this for about 7 years, and they were like, man, I put a video on Facebook, and the video on Facebook went viral for us. We only had about 1,000 followers on Facebook, and our first video we put out there did 10,000 views. More importantly, it left a lasting impact on that business. It was a local ice cream shop right here in the city of Fontana that we put it on Facebook. Within 5 days, that video had 50,000 views. I walked into the ice cream shop and I said, hey, I just want to see how the views, how your business has been. The guy freaked out on me, like, oh my gosh, what have you done? This is exactly how he responded. I'm like, what do you mean, what have I done? And he goes, are you running that same television spot over and over and over again? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, people are coming and I'm supposed to close my doors at 8 o'clock. I haven't been able to leave my ice cream shop till 10 p.m. at night because people kept coming in. Light bulb went off. We are making impact. So we switched all of our stuff to social media. I don't know if any of you guys follow Inland Empire Explorer or IE Explorer on TikTok, or not TikTok, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, but we have the largest following cross platforms of where to go, what to do, what to see right here in the IE. So what does all that have to do with you? This is so incredible. Tammy and I focus so much on how do we make an impact on a business. It's not about going viral. I know a lot of influencers and people that are trying to get in the world that message me all the time going, dang, Joel, you guys have been doing this for so long. How do I become an influencer? What do I do to go out and get lots of views? And then I'll talk to them. And what people want to know most of the time is, how do I go viral? That's what people ask me about. How do I go viral? And I feel like I'm always like, whoa, let me pull you back in. I don't know if you guys discuss it here in class, but being viral doesn't necessarily mean impact. Making an impact is taking a business, a small business locally, and showing this opportunity or what they have to offer or their highlights or the best stuff to other people around, so that people literally sitting on their couch watching this on their phone can go, that's cool, I'm gonna go check it out. And I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna leave some money at the store, which is gonna make an impact on that business, the community, the taxes, all that. That's making an impact. Not necessarily making a video that gets viewed by 1.5 million people. Because I don't know if you realize this, when viral videos happen, they don't necessarily happen within your sphere. On Instagram and Facebook, if you look up Inland Empire Explorer, i.e. Explorer, you will see that almost 95% of the people that follow us are right here in the IE. When you go to TikTok, unfortunately, we can't geolocate that as well. YouTube, we can't geolocate that as well. We can't, it's harder to grab. So people come from way outside the area. So when you go viral, typically your video is being seen by people in New York, people in Texas, people in LA. LA is not the IE, would you guys agree? So when we focus on doing videos, we really want to do our best to bring the best out of a place locally, so that people locally in the city of Fontana, or perhaps Rancho next door, or Rialto next door, or Bloomington next door, say, oh, that sounds cool, that sounds interesting, let me go check that out. So we really want to focus on impact when you guys are working, whatever video you guys do. How many of you guys will be participating in this contest? I'm just curious. We got a few in the back. Any of the creators here? Because I understand this is open to teams and individuals too. So I want to see there's a handful of people. Same with you guys. When you're creating, I want to go over a couple things before I turn it over to Tammy, because Tammy's going to get in the nuts and bolts of what we try to focus on when we create our videos online, and how they may look different from the videos you guys create here at school. First question is, how do we find a business? Well, I understand you already have a couple businesses you're working with, which is fantastic. If there's businesses outside of this, how we find it's usually recommendations. People will recommend to us, hey Joel, have you been to this pizza place in the city of Fontana known as 5-Star Pizza? I mean, or have you been to this Muay Thai place in the city of Fontana? Go check it out. This guy is high rated and, really fit looking, if you don't mind me saying, Joe. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. That's typically how we get our recommendations, or the businesses themselves will reach out to us and say, hey, I've got this business in the city of Fontana. I'd love for you to come out and try. You guys already have some established business you're gonna be working on. So then the goal of this video that you put together, I want you to, whoever's creating the content for this, is not necessarily focus on the views, it's more the impact. And when we do any video, it's really what is going to get, literally, we spend more time on this than sometimes hooks. And this and hooks are like, Tammy, I'm taking your thunder here, but those are the things that are so important. But we really like, what's going to get somebody to go, oh, wow, let me go try that. If I just take pizza as an example, pizza's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. What's going to make this place stand out to everything else? So then we start diving into what people are saying about this place. Oh, gosh, there's 50 comments online about how I'm making this up, their cranberry crusted pizza, that sounds disgusting, never mind. Parmesan cheese crusted pizza is the absolute best thing in the world. Well, that's something that's gonna get me to go, oh, if 50 people online mention that, I bet you if I share this video with other people out there, they might say the same thing. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how we start looking for a business, then how are we looking at what we're gonna do in that business. So when you're, obviously we got some business here. I just wanna make this clear. I know some of the schools that you guys are, some of your classes and your groups already have a business pre-selected. That's great. Some of you are going to be selecting a business. That's wonderful. So for those of you that are selecting a business, we basically try to get recommendations, and maybe it starts with you. Who do I know? Family, friends. What's the spot we go to all the time? Hey, teacher, what's your favorite place to go get a hamburger in the city of Fontana?
Mr. J's.
Mr. J's. Who doesn't know about Mr. J's, right? I mean, this place is off the chain. They had a video recently that did 2 million views from an LA foodie. Wasn't even in this area. So perfect example when I talk about viral videos, That video at Mr. J's went mega viral. Guess what? Majority of the views were outside of the Inland Empire. Doesn't mean that people aren't going to go there, but all I'm saying, it's a perfect example of not necessarily focusing on the views, focusing on the impact. And again, the impact is on how many people came to the store, how many people ordered from the store, how many people left comments, how much money did the store make as a result of the video. When you're searching for a business, that's a perfect way to get it. Ask people around you. And then if you don't have that as a reference, what I would recommend you doing is going online and, we're talking food, but it could be, a martial arts place. The one thing I would say, the videos that do the best on our site, because I don't think I've mentioned that, we're going to end up posting the top video from each school on our site. So it's going to go on Inland Empire Explorer, on Instagram and Facebook, which has over 200,000 followers locally in this area. So engaged followers. It's not just about having followers, it's about being engaged. So it's going to go on the site. So we want to select the best video per school that we know is going to have the best shot of making the biggest impact. So how do you find those businesses? Ask your friends. If you already have a business you're working with, work with them. Then try to dig into that business to find out, what are people saying about your Muay Thai? What are people saying about, is it Instructor Joe? Yep. Joe, okay. Coach Joe, what are they saying about him? Oh, he does this triple backflip that is not well, maybe you might want to put that on the video. Does that make sense? So you're looking into what people are saying. And then if you don't have the assets of having those people that pre-selected for the class, or that your teacher doesn't give a recommendation, go to trusted Google and Yelp and find out what are the top places locally. Because we highlight the places that are the most impactful in the community, where everybody comments, where everybody talks about. I think we could put this out that we don't visit places and we don't go to places that are rated super, super low, because we don't feel we would be doing a service to our community that follows us doing what we do. Does that make sense? And when I say super, super low, that means people are complaining about the food or the place itself or the location or certain aspects of that business. Does that make sense? Our goal has always been to highlight and elevate a local business. Win a business. If you already have a pre-selected business, great. If you don't, when you're talking to them to ask them to volunteer to let you come out and record a video for them, you're welcome to let them know you're working with IE Explore. And you'll get one or two things. 50% of the time will say, oh, that's cool, because they're familiar with it. Or 50% will say, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. And you can send them a link if you want. You cannot. And then 50% of the people you send the link to will go, oh, I didn't know you were talking about this page. And the other 50% will go, I have no idea what you're talking about. So it's going to be a mixed bag. But you're welcome to do that to get the credibility, to get the thumbs up so you can get the videos done. Does that sound fair? Now, what do we do in our videos? How do we make our videos impactful? This is where Tammy really steps in. I've been doing content on television, on our show still, by the way, airs on Peacock, Amazon Prime, PBS stations, Roku, Curiosity Quest is still out there. Inland Empire Explorer is no longer on television. It's all on social media. And in part because in the last 2 years, Tammy really has figured out how to dive in and make it the most impactful social media channel in the IE to get the most views with the matching impacts. And so I'm going to still a little over thunder saying that hundreds of millions of views on the videos that she has created, both for our channel and other channels as well. So some of you may not have your teams built out, but as you go through this process, the hope is that you do that so you know who's going to be on the team or if it's individual. And like I said, I want to make sure that this is clear as well. We're going to select out the top 5 videos, one per school, and we're going to place them on Inland Empire Explorer through the month of March. So part of how we're going to measure the success of these videos is based on the criteria that Ginger had mentioned early, and we'll make sure you guys have that criteria as well. 50% of the criteria is engagement and impact on what you did for the business. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. We're going to select out one video per school, put it on Inland Empire Explorer over the course of the same day, every day in the month of March. And then we're going to, at the end of March, we're basically going to collect all the data and go, oh my gosh, this video is our winner to be rewarded the $500 that Ginger was talking about.
My name is Tammy, like Joel said. He was kindly saying that he's the face, and as you can see why. He's the energy and the person in the front, and you can see exactly why. And I am the one behind the scenes. So what I do is I will do the filming, I do the editing, I do the posting. So I do a lot of the research going into what are we going to do to make this video pop? How are we going to draw people into this? How are we going to make it look really good so that we are making, as Joel says, the biggest impact in getting the views and getting the comments and getting the engagement? And there's no secret recipe necessarily, but there are things to think about when you are posting. And I just want to say that I know you guys are talking about as a team, but I want to remind everybody that this is open to individuals as well. You don't have to be part of a team if you want to do it yourself. The prize is pretty enticing. So if that's something you're interested in, you are absolutely welcome to go and do your own video, highlight your own business that you're interested in, and submit it as well. Okay, so these are some of the things that we think about when we are posting videos, just some little things not to forget or to keep in mind. When you decide on a business, the first thing that I do, we tend to focus on food videos. If you're not familiar with Joel's videos, we primarily go out, he tries food, and our focus is on his experience of that bite he's taking. That's the influencer side. When he takes a good bite of something and it looks beautiful and people are like, oh my gosh, I got to have that. I'm going out to get that. That's kind of how we do our videos. But you can do them whatever you think. Be your own creative self. You don't need to copy what we're doing at all. But one thing I do is I'll go into that niche. So we have a food, restaurant niche, and I'll go and do some research and I'll look around and see what's happening in this space. What are some of the top influencers in this space doing? Have they had a recent video on a burger do well, and we're going to a burger place, and kind of how did they do it? Or did they have a viral video go, and is there kind of a composition that I can look at and emulate? We're not copying, but it is really valuable. I mean, we all know about TikTok trends, like you're kind of doing the same thing. I'm not saying to follow that. I'm saying to take kind of their little sauce and emulate it a little bit, put your own twist on it. That's a really good way to get your juices flowing, is to look at, how they did it. How did they film it? What are they saying? Did they have a hook? Things like that. So I'll do some research and I'll save those as some inspiration to me before we go out and do these. Before we go into the location, we always talk about what we're going to want to do. We always try to have a clear picture, because the last thing you want to do when we're trying to be respectful of the business is go in and be like, okay, what are we going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. So think about it ahead of time. What is it you want to focus on? Like, what is your vision for this video? Are we focusing on a particular, for us, food item? What are we going to be highlighting? So think about it ahead of time so that you're being super respectful of their time and you kind of have a bit of a vision. Now, we don't want to be closed off to whatever happens in the moment, of course. Like, sometimes we'll do videos and people will be yelling at Joel in the background saying hi or whatever, and we just try to go with that kind of stuff. So spontaneity is great, but having a vision is really, really helpful. Thinking about what are the best shots. Is it pics of the food? Is it for us, someone's experience? Is it how it's made? Thinking about service businesses. If you're going to be doing a service business, how can you highlight that in the best, most, exciting, enticing way? When filming, now I know in this class you guys are using amazing equipment. We take our phone. I film it on my iPhone. That's it. Easy peasy. So you guys can do the same. You do not need any special equipment to do this at all. So there's little things that when we make a mistake on these, it can ruin a whole video. So they might seem like duh, but think about it. For instance, cleaning the lens of your phone. I can't even tell you how many times we've gone and shot a video and then it's got like this fuzzy film to it, and we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't just do a simple little cleaning of the lens. Thinking about your lighting. I know this class is like, we got this. Who are you talking to here? But a lot of people aren't very experienced or comfortable going out and doing these kinds of videos. So thinking about your lighting, you don't want to, unless it's an artistic choice, necessarily have things backlit. You want to be a natural light, have, good, clear lighting on someone's face and expressions, or on the food. So think about the lighting when you're going in. Don't just go shoot without kind of processing some of these ideas. Clear audio, wind, white noise. We always go into these businesses and people will have loud music playing. So one of the first things we do is we ask them to turn down the music for us, just so while we're shooting, we can have some clear audio. We are not fancy in any way. We do audio direct from our phone. So it's very important for us to have as clear audio as we can. And certainly for this competition, it's something that you want to think about. You want to do mics and that kind of stuff, that's absolutely fine. But you can also keep it super simple. I talked about being intrusive before, but we're going into businesses that are serving their customers right then and there. They're making all the food right then and there. So we have to be very respectful of the customers there or of their time. So a lot of times we just go outside so we're not disturbing them so that he can get his bite. However it is you're going to do it, just thinking about being super respectful of the customers and of the business owners themselves. One thing that we always do before we go in is we try to think about a hook. And I don't know how experienced everybody is in paying attention to the certain things about Instagram videos or TikTok that draw you in. There's certain things that draw you in those first 3 seconds. And we really, if we're talking about wanting engagement and wanting people to view these videos and sticking with it, we have to think about what's going to grab them in those first 3 seconds. Because you think about how quick you flip through videos, it's super fast. That means often for us, it's a hook that we're saying, like the best, or you must try, or we think about hooks in the very beginning. A hook can also be a visual hook. Like you see some people who will like spill something or knock something over, and it has nothing to do with the video itself, but they're trying to get your attention and they're trying to get you to stick around. So something to think about when creating this video specifically is how are you going to get the people to stick around long enough to make a comment, to hit that like button, and to get those views. So that's something very, very important to think about. There's a very special space when it comes to these videos. It's the first 3 seconds of a video. It's what you're putting on screen. That can also be a hook. You can put it in writing or in a caption. And then there's also the space in a description. That first little line of a description is very sacred space as well, and that can also be a hook. So think about how are we going to grab their attention so that they stick around long enough to see what we have to say. Something else to think about in a video with regards to editing specifically is we want to get to the point. Joel, as you can see,
Go ahead and say it. Let's say it.
he's a talker, right? He likes to talk. So we go and do these videos and he just like rambles or he likes to make faces or whatever. My job is to then take that 7-8 minute video that we shot of his and bring it down to 60 seconds. So I make it as punchy as I can, cutting out all that space so that the more I can switch videos, the more I can move in and out, the more I can move to the next thing, the more I'm going to keep somebody's attention. So think about, we don't want to take time to be like, hi, I'm Joel, and today I'm going to be trying. No, we want to get immediately to, you've got to try this. And then moving through things as fast as possible. So when thinking of a reel or a TikTok video, those kinds of things are really important. We want to keep their attention. Keeping the movement of the camera, sometimes I try to move in and then step back and then move angle, shift around, so that I'm always thinking about how is this going to be viewed and am I going to keep their attention? And then above all else, if this is the only thing you take from it, is to, especially if it depends. See, all of our videos are focused on Joel, so we have a very specific style. A lot of other people don't focus on the actual person, they're focusing on the business itself. So for us, Joel's voice is very important. And if you're going to be on camera, and this is probably for anything, being authentic is absolute key. The moment Joel is trying to play something that he doesn't feel truly, like he's kind of, glossing something that maybe he doesn't really think is so great, I immediately know it. And I'm like, nope, we're not going to be sharing that video because it's not authentic. I want his voice to shine through in his actual voice. So thinking of not trying too hard, but being yourself. And it could be an elevated self with some energy, but an authentic voice is just the most key thing. If you think about the people that you follow the most, you probably feel a really strong connection to them because they feel like an authentic being, like you can relate. And those are something really important to think about too. Post filming, we talked about the hooks, thinking about those. I always use text throughout the video, captions. If you think about it, most videos are viewed on silent, at least for the first several seconds. Captions are really important to bring them in. So we always have text on screen. Some people just watch everything in silent. And then we also use a call to action, and that's often for Joel, a question at the end. Have you been here? Have you ever tried this? We want to create engagement, and you're going to be rated on engagement. So asking or getting them to do something that you want them to do, having a call to action in the video or in the description is very important as well. That will help create the engagement that you'll get scored on. I said cut out pauses, make it as punchy as you can. And just, I know you all have in this class your own editing equipment. If you're at home kind of doing your own thing, I use an app called CapCut. I edit all my videos on CapCut, and then I use a caption app called Captions. So I do everything, and those two things, it's pretty much it. It's very easy and simple. It doesn't have to be complicated in order to make a massive impact. Joel sits, he takes a bite, he has a reaction, a true reaction of something that he loves, and people then want to go out and try it. It can be as simple as that. And it can be super flashy as well, but you don't have to overcomplicate it to make a big impact.
Yeah, as Tammy said, just because of my personality, for years I fought being in front of the camera and being the focus of my reactions and what I like and what I don't like. And then as time went on and people would come up to us, we're out in Costco or Target or I'm across the street at the Jesse Turner Center playing basketball, and be like, hey man, dude, you really like that? I really like how you like it. So just over time, we're like, oh wow, they're asking me what my opinion is. So that's when we just said, okay, forget showing just video, how they're being made, the food being made, or the process of how something's done. And we were focusing on my reaction. For your videos, it's got to be authentic to your team or you as an individual of what you want to put out there. So just think about that. It could be the process of how the pizza's being made, how we're putting on the toppings. I don't want to put too much in your minds, but it could be that, or it could be just like cheese pulls and, and eating, wow, or like, oh, I like this one, I don't like this one, you know what I mean? So just try to find your voice in that so it's authentic to the video, to the place, to the video for you, because I'm telling you, this is how I am in real life, right, Tam? I play basketball out here in the park all the time. I live in Rancho, right across the freeway. I literally play basketball out here at Rosina Park all the time. So I'm out here, and I can't tell you how many high school students from local area or college students from the area or young adults like your teacher who come out and we're like, dude, you eat all that food and you still play ball. Like, yeah, I still do it. I'm still out here. But then they meet me like, oh man, I thought you were just acting. I thought that was a person. No, this is how I really am. So it's easier for me to be authentic doing that. All I'm trying to say is no matter what you do, if this is the career path you choose or you want to be in the influencer space, be as authentic as possible. And I feel like it's getting easier and easier because you can weed out all the people that aren't nowadays. Most people don't follow the people that aren't, but just be authentic. So I want to just restate this. Guys, you have the opportunity to make an impact on a local business here in the city of Fontana. Just that alone. You literally have an impact. Not only are you going to be able to create some content for them, put out some good stuff, highlight some wonderful things for them, but we're also going to put it on our platform on the exact same day every week in the month of March. And then we're going to calculate all the numbers, go over all the metrics of how we judge this. And then we're going to find out from the businesses how you actually made the impact, sales, visits, and whatnot. So it's so cool. I just want you to think about it. Like, literally, you guys are sitting here talk about a real world situation. You're going to be able to make a real world difference and an impact on a business right here. That is so cool. I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with. I cannot wait. Some housekeeping things. Does anybody know what collaborations are online? Collaborations? So I see a lot of you shaking your hand. So not all businesses that we highlight have social media accounts. I want to make that clear. Not all of them do. And some of them have really large social media accounts, and some of them, most of them, have lower accounts, 2,000 or less followers are on the account. That's pretty average for a local business, guys, 2,000 or less followers. Every now and then, you got a business that just blew it out. They're doing a great job. We are going to invite collaborations on the video we take, but I want to make this clear. Even if we decide to put a collaboration for that business, and they've got a huge following and we've got a decent following and the video numbers do really good, remember, it's not all about the numbers. We're talking about using this as a real job. This is what we do. This is what we do. We make a living doing this, exactly what we're sharing with you. And we make a living not because I'm a big talker, but because she understands all of the details behind how to put out the right content. So I just want to make sure that you just got a masterclass on how to, if you guys ever want to do anything online, watch this video. Back with all the things she just said. It's pretty crazy. So the target length of this video is 30 to 90 seconds.
The style is up to you.
Martial arts. If we're doing a martial arts studio, go out there and find out like where are the top martial arts studios. Doesn't have to be in the Inland Empire. In fact, I would encourage you probably to look even wider so you can see who's doing the video, look at their video channel and see like this video did 5,000 views, 5,000 views, 7,000 views, 150,000 views. What did they do in that video?
Yeah, when we talk about viral videos, because that is what I do to research is look for viral videos, but viral video is very subjective. You can have a following of 100,000 people, let's say, and you get a video that has 100,000 views. For them, that's not viral. But if you have a business, as Joel's saying, that has 2,000 followers and they do a video that gets 100,000 views, that for them is viral. So you don't have to necessarily look for the millions. I'm sure you all know, but think about it needs to be in a vertical so it's viewed. You know, it's not for YouTube. This is for like Instagram and for Facebook, but primarily think about Instagram. That's where our really engaged following is. So think about how it's going to be viewed on Instagram. February 20th is when submissions are all due. And then we are going to then go through a judging process based on all the rubric that we were telling you. We'll select the top 5 videos, one from each school. Then we will start posting those on our page, one a week, and then pull all those metrics together to choose a winner.
We've been in the industry for, like I said, 24 years as content. It's funny because content creating has changed over the years. We started as content creating for local cable access in Ontario. That's where we started. And then 3.5 years after that, we were on PBS, or 3 years after that, we were on PBS. Then PBS National half a year after that, and then international. So we've been creating since 2001. And in terms of liking it, it's anytime I introduce, anytime I do a keynote, anytime I get asked to speak, anytime I go on what do you do for a living? I'm an edutainer. This is what I do. I entertain, I educate, and I love it. I'm speaking for me.
That's the answer. Joel loves it. So he has a great time doing it. And I think that that's something to really think about is to really think about something that you enjoy and love. If you want to be an influencer, pick a space that you do enjoy and love, because it does come across on the camera. And we get to go out and do it together, so we always have a great time. So it's always been a really fun experience for us, for sure. You don't have to worry about signatures. You don't want to be filming children, obviously. But as far as adults, don't stress too much about that.
Hey, one other quick thing. I want to make sure I say that. If you haven't already, when you go to this form to sign up to be in this competition, make sure you do sign your parents sign the media release and the other documents that are in there for you to sign.